Hi, I'm Joe Daniel from JoeDanielFootball.com and the Football Coaching Podcast, and today we're going to be looking at passing zones and how you attack the field both horizontally and vertically with your passing attack. I'll stretch these out just a little bit here. And what we're going to be looking at, first of all, we'll look at the vertical zones and then we'll look at the horizontal zones. So we divide our field up into 3 vertical zones, and then we divide each of those vertical zones up into horizontal zones. So let's start off with our vertical passing zones. We've got our underneath zones, which are going to be anything under 12 yards. From 12 to 20 yards is going to be our intermediate zones. And then our deep zones are going to be anything over 20. So what we're looking at here is, for example, a flood concept. Anytime that you can use a vertical stretch concept, most coverages don't have a way to really handle a vertical stretch concept. These are better against like a cover 2 type of coverage as opposed to cover 3 or quarters because of the ability of the safety to come over and help on an intermediate zone. But in any case, at least on paper, you should be able to stretch just about any coverage vertically into these 3 zones because almost everybody plays 5 under 2 deep, 4 under 3 deep, or 3 under 4 deep are kind of your general coverages. So we can usually stretch our zone coverages this way. And only a man coverage is really going to take those away. So what we're looking at here, anything under 12, anything is under route. Anything 12 to 20 is your intermediate, and then your deep. And so that's your flood concept. Your post out would be a vertical stretch type of concept. They don't have 3 routes, but you would add in a flare to get your underneath route. So you can get your stretches here in order to get your vertical stretch concept. So those are vertical stretch concepts. Then we go horizontal stretch. Horizontal stretch, we're either going to stretch our underneath or our intermediate to deep zones. And so our underneath zones, there's 6 underneath passing zones. And the difference between the number of zones in each area, and we divide into 6 equal parts, the difference in the number of zones in each area is dependent on how long the ball stays in flight, and therefore how long it takes the defender to cover that ground. So you might, if you're going to get really precise, even say that the flat zones might be wider than the interior hook zones as well, just because of the time that the ball has to travel. Although it's not really a big difference. But we have our hook, curl, and flat zone underneath, and hook, curl, and flat. And what we're going to look to do here is to horizontally stretch now, just the way that we used 3 routes going into our under, intermediate, and deep on a vertical stretch to stretch 2 defenders. We are now going to look to stretch 2 defenders to one side into 3 zones underneath. A curl route, a curl concept, which I've got a video on this channel on the curl concept that you can check out, and I'll link to in the description down below, is a great way to do this, where we're going to use a running back to hold the hook zone, and then we're going to have our curl and flat concepts to the outside. And against the cover 3, where we've got 4 underneath defenders, 2 to each side, we're going to be able to attack one of those sides with 3 receivers, and one of those routes should come open. So it's a horizontal stretch. We can also horizontal stretch in our intermediate zone, not so much in the deep. And what we're looking at is a deep zone. The ball is thrown so far and up that you can actually defend each half of the field with one defender because of the amount of time that the ball travels in the air and the ability to break on it and to get over to either side. But where we would want to throw, for example, our 4 verticals concept, we're going to divide the field into 4 quarters. And we want to throw those 4 verts at about 17 yards before we get deep enough that if we throw it into a deep zone, the corner or the free safety can really cover either side. We want to throw it, especially the seams, we want to throw them earlier than that. And so with our 4 verticals, what we want to do is take a team that's running a cover 3 and stretch them with the 4 verticals here. So when we've got a cover 3, you can run your 4 verticals. You can also run underneath stretch routes. When you've got a cover 2, it's really easier to run vertical stretch routes because it's really hard with the fact that you have 5 underneath defenders. You can get 3 to a side, so it's harder to run your underneath intermediate stretch routes. With quarters, it'll open up more of your underneath stretch routes, just like the cover 3 did, horizontal stretch routes underneath, because of the flat player having a little bit more deep concept. Now they're pattern match, so it changes it somewhat. And again, against the cover 1, cover 0, you're going to use your man beaters. They're going to be different in this concept. But this is how we're going to attack zone coverages, with 6 underneath zones, 4 intermediate zones, 2 deep zones over 20-yard passing zones. A little bit different back there. So I hope that helps you put together some passing concepts. We use passing concepts, simple passing concepts, in the Pistol Power Offense system that you can check out. And I've got a video series as my gift to you that you can check out. The link is down below here. It's joedanielfootball.com/PPO videos, where you can check that out. Just go down in the description there, click on the link, and you can get access to those videos at no charge right now. So thanks for checking out this video. Be sure to like and subscribe down below.